And hi, everybody. Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Warston here on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, even hit that thanks button down below if there's one visible. Have to say that for the algorithm. And hi, everyone. Steve Moody's already in the house. There you go. Thanks for waiting for me. Do I know anything about wide receiver Matt Coley just signed? Well, he's been with 7 teams in I think 2 years. So take that for what it is. You know. Just a camp guy. I can't imagine there'll be anything more than that. Wish him well. Don't have anything against him. But, this is your 8th team in 2 years. There's got to be something on that. So let's see. Go ahead, Steve. Ask another question, please. Pretty much you're it. I think somebody else just showed. All right. Let's see. So anyway, welcome to the show. It's just getting started, and been quite a bit going on. This Saturday is the first game of 131. So let's see. So IRL is dead, whatever that means. Says they're talking a lot on 106.7 about Wentz's accuracy. I do work at 106.7 as a guest columnist every week. And so I've seen, I haven't seen a lot of practices, had a lot going on in personal life. But they're saying the same things I saw, which was throwing high, which to me is a mechanical problem. When you throw high, it's because your release point is premature. You're letting go here instead of here. Very slight difference, but it makes, 6 inches difference down the field, and then they can't catch the ball, or it gets tipped, or get intercepted. And I have seen that a lot, often from Wentz. So I think what you do is, one, you just work on mechanics on that. And two, what I've seen Wentz trying to do is fine tune some things, get some chemistry things. I mean, he could go out there and do some pitch and catch, but he's trying to do not 101 throwing, but 401 throwing if you ever went to college. And so, I'm not as concerned about it right now. This is a time of year when you do stuff like that. So I wouldn't worry about it too much at this point. Now, get to opening week and this stuff is still going on, then you have time to worry about something. So, all right. Thanks for the question. That's great. And let's see what else is up there. Usually you guys bombard me with things. Let's see. Saturday is a 1 o'clock start. I think I've only seen 2 1 o'clock games in preseason over the years. One was back in the 90s, and I think one was just a couple years ago or so, outside of a Hall of Fame game or something. So it's supposed to be a beautiful day Saturday, because right now it's the thick of humidity and heat in Washington, where everything just makes you sweat to death. And a 1 o'clock game like that would be death, and nobody comes to that. But they're talking about temps going down Friday and Saturday really nicely. So if you want to come see a game, come see a game. A lot of people dog preseason. Yeah, there's not much to see. I know Wentz is going to start, and that means the offense will start. How long? I don't know. I think you'd go. It depends. If your first drive is 12 plays, 84-yard touchdown, okay, then you can call it one and done if you really want. But, if you go 4 and out, you can come back for a second one, maybe a third one. I don't see the problem with that. Same thing for the defense. And, you won't see all the greatness, but you get to go to an NFL game really cheap. I'm sure tickets, I haven't looked lately, but StubHub probably has tickets for nothing. Okay, Steve asks, is there a better football movie than The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds? Yeah, the one with Burt Reynolds. The other one was good with Adam Sandler, but Burt Reynolds was a little bit better, I thought. So I did like Any Given Sunday. I thought that was a pretty good one. There was one where there was a sniper going to kill people at the Super Bowl. I don't remember the name of that. Baseball tends to make the best movies on sports. Hockey's got one here and there, like Slapshot. Basketball has something, but baseball makes the best movies. All right, Paul says, I had high hopes on Wentz, but now I'm not so confident. Can't wait for the preseason. Let's wait for the preseason before you dump them. I say if you guys are anybody out there is a fantasy guy, I would buy Cole Turner stock all day long. It can't cost much, and I think he's going to start the season doing okay. He's definitely has some real pluses to his game. So I think that's an underrated value. Brian Robinson, I think, could also be much undervalued. So take a shot. Black Sunday is the movie I was talking about. Thanks, Paul. David Rogers, do I have a favorite uniform scheme from over the years? Not a big uniform guy because I always say, it looks good winning. But I will say the arrow on the helmet back in with the early 70s or 60s, I like that a lot. I love the arrow on the helmet. And they used the mustard more. I call it mustard. It's gold, but it's mustard. Was a pretty decent look too. I don't like white on white. I don't like single colors on the two. For me, being not a uniform guy, here I am talking about it. But I like different colors on jersey versus pants. And the black on black that they brought out this year, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It reminds me of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I don't particularly like it. I do love the helmets that they have. I've seen them up close. Helmets are terrific on there. Steve Moody, have you heard any more about Clinton Portis? Yeah, not lately. Yeah, it's been kind of quiet lately, but maybe he does his time and just moves on. Abe, all right, yeah, Abe's back. Wentz is up there with high tight end throw percentage. Yeah, absolutely. Wentz has thrown to tight ends more in the last 5 years than any other quarterback. So you want to have a tight end. And I think Cole Turner is going to be the guy. Now, when does Logan come back? I'm not sure yet. There seems like later than sooner. There was a lot of hope opening day. I don't get that sense yet, but we still have some time to go. Paul said, didn't like the yellow with the R on it. I kind of did. It's kind of an old school helmet. Lombardi's jerseys were a little off color. And the backstory to that is, they told me, is Lombardi's brother-in-law was a apparel salesman, so they switched so his brother-in-law could get the business. And the jersey showed up the night before the first game, and they were a little off. Well, they couldn't do anything about it at this point, so they went ahead and used them. That's why that 69 team color is a little different. Abe asking, is Cole's hamstring all set? I'm sure they're going to be conservative about it, so I don't know if he plays this week or not. Steve said, oh, he knows something because he read my book. Oh, yeah, my book. Have you read my book? Here you go. 100 Things Redskins fans should know or do before they die. I wrote it 8 years ago. It's 100 short stories, and it's still out there on Amazon. It's pretty much sold out. But there's a new version coming called 100 Things Commanders fans should know and do, with a new helmet. And it's 5 new stories in the book. It's really a revised edition. So I tell people, don't come yelling at me about I screwed you over an old book. It's 5 new stories, updated a lot, and that's really the only difference. But if you haven't bought the last one, and only about, I don't know, 6,000 of you did, come buy the new one. If you want to buy this one now, it's still on Amazon with the Redskins, but it's going to be declared out of print when the new one comes. I understand it's September 13th. So I'll be selling them on a website so you can get them autographed if you want, or you can go to Amazon and make them rich instead of me. Thanks, Steve, for the great read. Paul says, who's the player they picked up from Philly? Are we talking about the receiver there that we just talked about? He was at 7 teams. I lost track of everybody that he was playing for. Anybody you pick up right now isn't going to matter. Anybody who's available out there and is not in somebody's camp, there's a reason for that mostly. Well, I was kind of wondering, Landon Collins, I don't believe has been signed by anybody. Sometimes, more veteran players like him that will cost more, they kind of wait. And they often wait till the second game of the season, because if a vested veteran is on your opening day roster, his salary is guaranteed for the season. So a lot of ways teams get around that is they sign them week 2. And then if they want to cut them a couple weeks later, they can. It doesn't cost them anything but per game. All right, Abe says he's buying the new one from my site. There you go, Abe. You're one of my favorites. Just I don't know how many we're going to sell, but the publisher wanted to reissue it with the new name. So I said, sure, why not? Easy work. I'm not afraid of that. So let's see. What else we have? And this week, for starters, I think they'll play a quarter. I mean, Rivera's pretty conservative on that stuff. Matrix Deacon says that Landon can always come back and play outside linebacker. I kind of don't dismiss that entirely. We'll just see what happens, but not today, but maybe tomorrow. Um, Paul wants to know, am I going to the game Saturday? Yeah, I expect to. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and it's a chance I might deafen the family. I don't want to really talk about that much, but I might be at that. Um, Fiddle and Mike, have I noticed a change in the air around practice or the press or teams interaction since Bruce left? Oh yeah, we're all much happier. I mean, everybody's happy. And Bruce was, you know, nobody liked Bruce. Let's put it that way. Juan wants to know, is there a way I get a press pass for training camp? Sure, I'll sell you mine, Juan. There isn't a way you can get a press unless you're part of the accredited press somewhere, which I don't know. But oh, you have your own show or something. I don't know. You can listen. You can contact the public relations department, and make your case. Um, but that's up to them. They usually don't, but I don't know. Make your case. Maybe you're big and I don't know about it. Hank wants to know, any chance Datsun could outplay McLaurin? That's a good question. I like a lot about Datsun. I think he's very smooth and what he does. He's a natural. Um, but Terry's really good too. So I would say no. But think about Monk Clark. Those were two great receivers. Clark should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. So uh, give it a chance. See what he does. Abe's saying, glad to see Ron was telling the truth with Samuels. Yeah, you and me both. I think. Um, Uchib, how good has Kendall Fuller looked in camp? I haven't noticed anything bad, so that's actually good. But nobody's scheming. They're just kind of free, learning systems out there. So you don't quite get a real look. You're starting to get a real look with the pads on now up on the lines a little more. But corners, you still don't quite. I mean, unless you look awful, you don't really notice that much. Have I seen much from Brian Robinson? Asked IRL. Yeah, I love the guy. Freight train, man. This guy's going to be interesting. I think he'll be their prime back at some point. Steve Moody, Terry will have the best man covering him. Probably. Maybe two guys, But if this receiver core can actually take pressure off him, Terry in single coverage. What I love most about Terry is when he catches the ball, then it's like he hit another gear and goes zoom. So, if they can throw the ball to him well, and he's definitely can score some long gains. Robert asked why just signed another wide receiver. They just want to get another look. And I don't know if he has any special team skills. I mean, the guy's bounced around practice squad to practice squad. And when you see 7 of them, I don't know. I don't get real excited about it yet. Let's see, Nicholas. What's the best pizza in DC? I do like Pizza Paradiso on there, which is in Georgetown. Somebody saw the other day where it was such a pedestrian thing, and I thought, what are you, insane? But I do like them. I like Pie on F Street and 9th. Really, they have some specialty pies. They have all types too, deep and thin crust on there. I like Wise Guys over near Union Station. I think it's on 3rd Street. You can buy by the slice on there. I have not been to Ann Pizza. I got to get there someday. I've heard about it. Abe says, D. Brown seems to be having a good camp. Yeah, I think, in the second year, I think he's going to be even better because he'll have learned a lot, just like Jamin Davis. I mean, second year, you definitely see growth. Sam Cosme, I mean, there's some guys that you could really see a much better play from this year. Paul wants to know, is Hal or Taylor going to play the second quarter? Coach hadn't said yet. I'm going to assume that Taylor's playing like the middle of the game, and then Sam will get a quarter. That's typically, I think mostly it's 1-2-1 on the quarter plays. So I think they'll, I think Taylor gets more. I mean, I can see Sam getting a whole lot of that third preseason game on there. And I like Sam a lot. Said it since, OTAs. I think he's a potential, starter for this team at some point. Whether that's, I doubt it's this year, but if that's in next year or a year after, maybe. I don't know. So much can go on with that. I mean, if Rivera were to leave for some reason, next coach is going to want to pick his quarterback, and that could knock Sam out. Happens all the time. It's happened with this team all the time. It's one of the great problems this team has had for the last 30 years almost, is they keep changing coaches who change quarterbacks, and nobody seems to, um, be in sync a lot. You pick a quarterback next year, you got a new coach, and he doesn't like the last one. I mean, all the time happens all the time. So I wouldn't. I don't know. Sam, we'll see if Sam gets his chance or not. But I think he has a good arm. Seems to have a pretty good grasp of what he's doing. I like a lot of what I've seen. I think Taylor can still be a successful quarterback in spurts in this team. So that's a possibility. And I'm not giving up on Carson yet either. So, I want to give Carson a chance before everybody buries him. That only seems fair on that. Quarterbacks. Where would we be without talking about quarterbacks on this team? Say, where's all your friends at? The guys are supposed to be coming over. Tell everybody on Twitter to come by. I kind of wondered if you guys would just get tired of this every Monday, but I think once the season starts, everybody's going to really want to be, part of this. Coming in, good or bad loss, wins and losses, you'll be ready to rock. I had people who asked me, "Why don't you do it during the game?" Well, I'm kind of busy covering the game to do this, so no. But Monday nights are always good. It tends to be the highest reaction times. All right. So there is a thanks button, although I hear it's not on live. Maybe when the show's on, the chat replays as soon as this is over. It's chronicled and there for you to watch on Twitter. And if you want to hit the thanks button, it's kind of like a tip jar. Appreciate it because I donate my time for the fans. And if anybody wants to tip back, appreciate it. I'm also a tour guide. People tip me sometimes. I'm like, wow, the best tip I ever got, tour guide, is I had a private tour with a company, and I said, "Who am I taking?" They go, "A bunch of Yankees from New York." I just thought he was being a wise guy about, New York and Yankees. So I meet these three guys and their wives up Capitol Hill to take them out for the day. And I said, "What do you do for a living?" I didn't recognize anybody. And they go, "We play baseball." I was like, "Really? For who?" He goes, "New York." And I'm like, "Oh, the New York Yankees." They come in a day early to play the Nats, and they came in with their wives, and Sonny Gray is the only one I can remember. Sonny Gray was pitching, and great guy. Great guy's now with Minnesota. And Sonny Gray tipped me a lot of money. And I was like, "I don't know what it is, but Sonny, this is too much money." He goes, "I just signed a $30 million deal." All right, thanks. So I keep track of Sonny and wish him well on there. Okay, so let's see. Abe says FBI is raiding Trump's house. Would I prefer Danny boys? I don't want to stick the FBI on anybody. It's up to the FBI. I walked by their building yesterday. I'm on tour. I'll stay out of that. I just want to stay away from the FBI personally. Let's see. Paul wants to know, do I think Dan will fire Ron or Jack if the season starts slow? No, I don't think so. I don't think he'll do anything during the season. On there. What Commanders game am I most excited for? Asked Nicholas. Oh, every week. But kind of, you always love to see the division games on there. They're playing Green Bay. So I always like to see teams with great quarterbacks against them. So, I'll be interested in the opener against Jacksonville because I watched Jacksonville play the Hall of Fame game. It looks awful. And yeah, Trevor Lawrence didn't play, and you make nothing of the game except Vegas looked decent. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they can win Jacksonville and Detroit because that puts you up 2-0 and things change. If they don't go 2-0, I think that hurts a lot of momentum because how can you lose to these two teams? Well, as we've seen, they can lose to anybody at any time. It happens all the time. All right, Phil and Mike, how much Redskins versus Commander gear do you see among fans at practices? I've seen, a lot of both is out there. I mean, because a lot of people have ordered Commanders gear, they just don't have it yet. I heard it's really been slow, and people put up stuff on Twitter and show problems with it. I think even in the stands this year, you can wear your Redskin gear. There's no rule against it. Man, if there's half of the fans are wearing Commanders gear, I'd be surprised just because it takes a while to make all this happen. And then this stuff's expensive, and a lot of people receive like jerseys at Christmas. So year one, maybe a third of the crowd's wearing it. By year two, it could be two-thirds. I think you got to get through Christmas and supply chain, all that stuff, there. SPS, if they don't make the playoffs, do they move on from Ron? Um, if they really, really stink, yeah. But if they could go 10, well, 10-7 might not get you in the playoffs this year. Probably will. But if they go 4 or 5 wins, I don't know. Then you got to ask why. What happened? Was it injuries? Were they just outplayed? There's a lot that goes into that. You just don't fire people. Well, this guy does, but I wouldn't. Michael doesn't think Commander's gear is done very well. It looks like Walmart stuff. Um, I haven't seen a lot of it up close. All I've really seen the helmets up close. So we'll see. The Woe boat. Okay. You hope fans don't boo Juan Soto on Friday when he comes back San Diego to play the Nats. I don't think they will. They might boo the learners, but why would you boo Ron? Juan didn't do anything wrong. I mean, yes, he turned down a $440 million contract, but you and I would have done the same thing knowing that there's a $500 million deal out there. There's no discounts in this kind of thing. So, listen, if you had a job offer across the street for a lot more money, you might take it if it's life changing, that kind of thing. So you don't begrudge people on that. Let's see. Xenifer. I can't wait to see Washington and Commanders uniform Saturday. Yeah, it's going to be cool to see. I hope they have the names on the back instead of Commanders on everybody's back. I'm sure they will, because that's been annoying in practice when you're trying to learn new players and everybody's got Commanders on the back. Paul Gray, think Washington would change the name if the jersey products don't sell? Nah, I think the NFL would be pretty upset with that. And then who are you going to change it to? I said the XFL team coming. I've heard they may have a different name. I personally, if I were them, would take Red Wolves. Boy, would that really cause a shockwave in town. All right, Grandizer says hi to me. How's your day? It's been pretty sucky. His family member died, but other than that, fine. Kind of wore out from all that. Sizzle says, which previous Washington quarterback does Wentz remind you of? Ooh, I was just thinking about that. Maybe Brunell, which young Brunell was good, but Brunell here was okay. He was okay. I didn't love him as much as Gibbs did. Nathaniel says, I'm going to be visiting the National Cathedral soon, which I look for. Okay, so I actually am a certified cathedral rep, tour guide. The moon rock over on the right-hand side, you'll see the moon window. It's about halfway down on the right-hand side. That's really cool, actual moon rock. And then below it is Woodrow Wilson's tomb or sarcophagus. So Woodrow Wilson, the president, is actually buried under there. Go downstairs, too. Really good. Some really great rooms downstairs, too. It's all good. Let's see. Hitting the like button to show support. Thanks, Grandizer. But hit the thanks button. That's even better. Jeff Delaney, best all-time DC play-by-play radio announcer. Frank Herzog. He's smooth, great guy. Lives in North Carolina now. Just was smooth, and the chemistry worked with Sonny and Sam so well. I like Bram. Bram does a great job. Bram's the funniest guy you'll meet, too. If you ever get a chance to hang out with Bram, when he gets going, man, you can't stop laughing. But I think he's done a good job from what I've heard. Jennifer, Chase Young for comeback player of the year. Yeah, if he plays as well as he is, sure, why not? Because last year stunk and got hurt. Let's see. Ball says it would be bad if the XFL Red Wolves jersey sold better than the Commanders. Would be interesting, wouldn't it? That would be interesting. Lamasu, probably said that wrong. If we don't win 10 games with an easy schedule, it's a bust. And Ron and the Panthers coaching staff should be fired. HTTR. Okay. Or are you guys willing to go HTTC? Kind of wondered. What's my website called? Monumentalthoughts.com is my tour guide site. Monumental Thoughts. So not like Monumental Sports. I was first. They were second. They want to buy my website. I'd be okay with that, but no one's called. What's the best cheesecake in Philly? I'm not a big cheesecake guy. I'm sorry, not cheesecake, cheesesteak. Not a big cheesesteak guy because I don't like all that stuff on it with, onions and all that stuff. So I usually go cover Philly games and I drive home. Let's see. Jennifer says, which the favorite player Washington drafted this year? I like a lot of them. I mean, there's 4 or 5. The first 4 guys I think are going to really help. But maybe Cole Turner, if I was really looking at a guy that could really blow it up more than you expect. Cole Turner's got some great pass catching ability. I mean, so does Datsun, but you're expecting that out of Datsun. Alexander, what's the best pizza in Philly? There's a 7-Eleven. No, I'm kidding, man. Really, when I go to Philly, I pretty much go cover the game and I drive home, and I eat at the I-95 rest stop in Maryland. So I mean, I'm not good about Philly. It's one town I don't hang out in because we just drive home. Um, let's see. Jeff says, any trust Jim Hickey can fix any pitcher. Yeah, you got me on that one. I don't think so. No, you can't. It's hard to fix pitchers. You know, there's so much of these arm problems and the mechanics. And I remember people were talking about Strasburg early in his career, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, he's great, but he's going to break down." And you're like, "Yeah, whatever, dude." Well, they were right on that, and I don't really expect anything from Strasburg anymore. You know, just what would you call Strasburg's career? That's an interesting thing. I mean, he has a World Series win like that. He's had some great games. I mean, when he struck out 15 Pirates in his debut, I was there and thought, finally, somebody worth the hype coming into town. That's worth it. And he's had some real treasures, and he's had how many injuries and how many missed games. You know, he's basically lost 2 seasons here after signing for the money. You know, he's just one of those guys that you can't depend on. I mean, of course, they're going to try because they don't have much pitching. You know, so I don't know if I'd call his career a great one or not. You know, for a first round pick, just it's not like one of them Braves pitchers back in the days or something. Do I have anything about Humphreys? I hope we keep him. I don't have anything on that one for you. Michael Stahl, Nolan Ryan. These pitchers are not. Yeah, I saw Nolan as a kid pitching against the Orioles. Saw him throw a one hitter. Belanger got the hit. Belanger hit like 220 career. Always seemed to be able to get a hit off of Nolan Ryan. Did that more than once. Wouldn't Alexander said I wouldn't be surprised if the Nationals retire Strasburg's number. I wouldn't. I don't think he does that. Max maybe, but not. I don't see Strasburg doing that. Paul Gray, do you think the Nationals? Wow, we got a lot of Nationals questions. Okay. Do I think the Nationals got the worst baseball field in the league? Well, I haven't been to all of them. I don't think it's that bad on there. I'm looking forward to the Field of Dreams game. I think it's Thursday, right? So I like to. Hopefully, I can see that. That's just cool. I'd love to go see that sometime. I think Mackenzie Gore will be the Nats' #1 pitcher next year, says Alexander. Well, it wouldn't take a whole lot to do that. Grandizer, why did the Commanders cut center Bo Bench, whatever? Because we couldn't say his name. I don't know. I didn't have any real feeling on him. Alexander, Oakland has the worst field. That would be okay. And I've driven by the Oakland Coliseum too. Yeah, it's like a minor league park, to say the least. I remember going to games. You know, when Washington played the Raiders. I mean, it's a nothing place. So I can see why they're trying to put something new there. I see why the Raiders left. I mean, there's just not much for them there, infrastructure wise. David, do I believe this reports about the work culture improving, or is it just smoke? I definitely think it's improved a lot. You got rid of some people that were really not good people, and yeah, I think a lot of that has improved. Is it paradise on earth? Well, I don't know. It's your definition of it. I mean, one of the problems of working for any sports team is they work you 100 hours a week if they can. They just work you until you gas out. Don't pay you a whole lot, and then when you can't take it anymore, they hire somebody new and do the same thing to them. So people think it's just this glorious thing. And hey, if back in the great days when they were winning Super Bowls and Cook owned a team and it was really more of a family atmosphere, it was a lot of fun. You didn't see people leave. Not like now. People realize it's just time. You take it for the resume and get out of there. Let's see. Fiddle and Mike says there's no thanks button on the live chat. Okay. But here's a $ on the right side of the chat box for super chat, but I can't get it to work. That figures. I think it's after the chat is over, then it does. Kind of a weird thing, but okay. Send me a pizza. Red Allen Mixon. I don't know. Top improvement you see in the Commanders versus this time last year. Running game, I think, will be better. I like Robinson a lot, and J.D. McKissick's back, so I would say that I've seen improvement there. Well, certainly they got more receiving options right now. The rest of it is kind of what it is. Sizzle, how does Dotson compare to a rookie Terry in training camp? I think we were paying more attention to Dotson now than we were Terry in the very beginning. So I would say Terry stands out a little more just because we were noticing a little more. Doesn't mean he was any better. So Dotson on that. Fiddle and Mike. Oh, super chat works. Hey, all right, thanks. I don't even know how it works, to be honest. I know there's some like exclusive entertainment for super fans or something, but I just give it to you guys anyway. So I don't have anything hidden in the back files. I'm telling. If I ever do the pizza tour, I was going to do the pizza tours, and the pandemic screwed it up. We were going to meet in a pizza place in DC and just talk Commanders about whatever you wanted. No cameras, so that I can say whatever. So maybe we do it next year. The pandemic is still kind of out there. I've known more people to get COVID in the last month than I think I have all the time before. A lot of people. My mother was this close to going about 3 weeks ago, and among other things going on. And they gave her that stuff that they give you now. And if you get COVID, man, get this stuff because it's pretty standard. Doctors can give it to you. It brought her back, from a bad place. So I still worry a little bit about COVID. I still wear a mask a bit because I'm diabetic. So be careful out there, everybody. Like to see us all. Having a family member die today just shows you tomorrow's not promised, and we're trying to enjoy life while we can and quit fighting with each other on Twitter. All those things. Just have some fun. The sports are supposed to be fun. Fiddle and Mike says, hit the little dollar sign and your Amazon account is charged on Super Chat. I have no idea how I get it. They send me a notice. I get paid once a month by YouTube. I wish I knew more too. I should know, but I'm just kind of new to this. I usually do this because I get paid by a lot. But full disclosure, the pandemic took 80% of my business away, and a lot of clients did not rehire me. That were hired before. So I'm near retirement. I don't know if this is my last season or not. As long as my health is good, and luckily it's good once more, I'll just keep doing this. Maybe out of spite. Who knows? I had a friend covered Atlanta for 17 years. They sucked. The year he quit, they went to the Super Bowl. So maybe if you pay me enough, I'll quit and they'll go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. What's the favorite sports story I ever wrote? Ask Alexander. One of them was I covered retired thoroughbreds that were given to Dakota, North and South Dakota, Lakota Indians. And they took them out on their farms. And I went out to the Dakotas and wrote about what happened to these, some of them said decent horses. And I got to meet people in the tribes. And one thing, I was sitting around a kitchen table with several prominent members of the Lakota Indians. And I said, what do you think of Redskins? And they laughed. They said, football's stupid. They could care less about this. This was years ago that I asked it, but just kind of shows me, Let's see. Grand Dodger says, yeah, super chat. Some of it goes to Google. Yeah, of course, everybody takes a share out of me. You think if they take all those slices out of me, I'd be smaller. But all right, Paul Green, are you and Matt going to talk after first preseason game? Yeah, Matt and I have a podcast, Seasons of Discontent, that's here on YouTube too. We do 15-minute shows because nobody watches more than that. We're going to start next week. We were going to do it today, but things were going on crazy for me. So we'll do it. So Grand Dodge says, every time Rick rings the bell, an angel gets its wings. Oh, there you go. Hopefully my family member now has her wings. Yeah, I wish her all the luck. It's a suck part of getting older. People die. Okay, let's see what it is. Well, I'm glad you guys are invested in the super chats and all. Thank you. Just trying to make a little money before I go. Building a retirement home. It's going to be nice. And but I'll still do this for as long as I can. We'll see. Maybe I'll be here 20 more years. Done it for 44 years. I'd like to get to 50. I'd like to be alive for 50. So we'll see. John Mooney. All right, you must be new back to it. How's Carson Wentz look? Overall, okay. I'm not ready to shelve him yet. I mean, everybody just wants to throw dirt on you in life before you even give them a chance. So let's let it get to at least the Detroit game before lighting your torch. Some of these people. Paul Esther, national players, any of them going to the Hall of Fame? Max. Well, I mean, of the current ones, no, I can't even name them all right now. There's so many new ones. But Max, I'm sure, is in the Hall of Fame. I mean, former ones, you go sit there and say, Juan's going to be probably, Bryce Harper's probably. I've had some good ones go through. It's interesting. Rendon has been hurt most of the time he's been gone. Trey Turner's a solid player, gone. So of the current ones, no. Favorite Hall of Fame I've visited? Asked Jeff. Cooperstown. Was there as a kid more. My dad took me on a bus from DC to Cooperstown. Oh man, don't do that. But at least I know where things like Utica are. Listen to the bus driver pull that out. Cooperstown's a really cool place. The Hall of Fame is awesome on there. So that's good. Also, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's in Cleveland. Just you can walk to it from the Cleveland Stadium. It was interesting. I saw the ABBA Museum in Sweden last time I could travel in 2019. That was really cool. A Wednesday in Stockholm afternoon. It's mobbed. So that was pretty cool. Steve, thank you for chipping in. I think we all agree we're in better shape at quarterback than we were last year. Yeah, I was never a big Ryan fan. I mean, didn't hate him, but there was a reason why these kind of people bounce around. And I mean, we never got to see anything because he took off after that injury, and he only played he was okay for about, how long did you play? 20 minutes? So I think they are better off than they were last year. And I think Heineke's a better quarterback too if you play him. And the third guy is Mooney, and Sam Howell. And they did cut Cole Kelly, who I thought threw a nice ball. I mean, he was never going to make the team. I thought maybe they'd hold on to him for a practice squad. I don't know if he'll ever really make it, but I thought he was an interesting guy. Could really throw a nice pass. Big, like 6'7" or something. Mooney says, I'm worried about the one practice where the D lineman told him to throw it away and he didn't. Yeah, because, you get stubborn and try and, make plays. And, it's just a practice. So if you screw up, it's not counted, So, but yeah, sometimes you just got to learn to toss the ball away. Everyone gets in the Hall of Fame unless they're stupid enough to say things like, that was 55 years ago, babe. Michael says that. Yeah, Pete Rose. What are we going to say about Pete? I loved watching Pete Rose play as a kid. Charlie Hustle ran down the first. Some of it was hype. But, man, the dude hit. But, I read today where he was like 117th in batting average of the all-time. He's the all-time hits leader because he lasted so much longer, but he was only like 117 in average. Why did Peyton Ramsey fail in the NFL? Not sure. If you're talking about Patrick Ramsey, I think. Because, among all things, Patrick Ramsey, as I talked about earlier, wasn't lined up with the coach. Coach didn't want Ramsey and said, they told Snider, you can draft him, but I'm not playing him. And because he had his own, Gators. And then the next guy comes in, that's not his guy. So that's one of those. Steve said, I enjoy his videos better than paying for HBO Max and not watching it. Yeah, I got HBO Max, and I recently watched all of Game of Thrones, all of 8 years. I need to go to rehab, but I hadn't seen the show since it came out years ago, and it was really fun to watch. And Max has some cool stuff. I saw where they're merging now with Discovery, and I don't know. We'll see what's left. Sizzle, any chance bringing Landon Collins back? I think slim. And what I've seen with Rivera is once he lets you go, he doesn't always go back looking for you, unless you play for him in Carolina. But here, I'm surprised he let the guy who retired come back the next day. I would have said, listen, dude, you made your choice. And if you feel like this isn't it for you, why are you back here tomorrow? Regret? You ain't got time for players like that. So I was surprised he bothered because I don't know who'll make the team. Paul Green, do you think Turner will run more to help Wentz? No. I don't think they may run more if they're not down 10-0 in the first quarter, and so they can run more if they want. That would be kind of nice. Parlet, which I have a feeling I know who that is. Do you miss Jim Zorn like I do? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks. Oh man, Zorn as a person was a lot of fun until they just beat him down to death. But when he was 6-2, he's telling stories about skinning wolves and hanging the thing up and all this. I mean, it was just bizarro world. And I liked Jim's a good man, just not in the right situation here. But he was funny. He created zines, Z screens. He was a very Gil Thorpe type, if you remember the old comic strip. Very, sort of like buzz cut, rah rah guy from the gym teachers you had back in the '60s or so. He was a good guy. I wished it worked out better for him, but then the team wanted to get rid of him and not pay him. So then they made his life miserable with the bingo caller. I was there when he was telling us, well, yeah, I was delivering Meals on Wheel and calling out bingo. It's like, what? All right, Michael Stull said, I have expected him to sign Steve Smith. Yeah, it crossed my mind, but no. Okay, Grandizer, let Buck Weaver into the HOF. I have no idea. Thanks, Roger. And let's see, Hank Hartman, the best receiving core Wentz has had in his career. Probably. I don't know everything on Philly to sit there and match them up without getting out the book, but maybe. Let's see. Paul said, I think play calling hurt Zorn. Oh, absolutely. That swinging gate thing twice in a row. I mean, once is kind of weird, but twice in a row. I remember Sonny gave him hell in the locker room during the post-game review, and Zorn and he went nose to nose on that, and Sonny just destroyed him. Sonny would often destroy Zorn in the locker room questions because Zorn couldn't defend stupid calls, and Sonny could spot everything. Listen, if you sit around and talk to Sonny, you learn a lot about football. So I miss Sonny. He's just, he's earned his retirement, so I don't get to see him much. Odell to the Bills. No idea. Sorry. Roger loves Sonny. Yeah, I think everybody. I mean, Sonny was a fun guy. Sonny could throw the ball behind his back most of his life. I mean, I saw him do it even into his 70s, and throw it well. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And Sonny could do a lot of stuff. He's a good athlete. I know he's a little, beer belly, but didn't matter. Sonny had a magical arm and knew football not to make mistakes. Steve wanted Sonny over Billy. The old bumper stickers, the two, I probably told this story. The two, Billy and Sonny would drive around, having a drink around the Beltway, and they'd find people with the bumper stickers, I love Billy or I love Sonny. And whoever the one they loved, the other guy would pull alongside and give them the finger. And can you imagine you're sitting there driving along with I love Billy and Sonny Jurgensen comes up next to your car and gives you the finger? But they just thought it would be fun. So it's certainly a story for you if that happened. John Mooney, Carson Wentz's career is similar to RG3. Well, I don't know about that. Both were never the same after the knee injury, but Wentz is better. Yeah, I mean, RG3 could have been really something. I know somebody made a case that RG3 should be on the next, 90 greatest skins. No, he had one great year, and it's not his fault he got hurt. But it was part of his fault and Shanahan's fault for not figuring out how to do things afterwards. They both share some of that burden, and it just didn't work out. But I would not vote for him on the 90th team. Sonny and Sam may listen to game fun, says Paul. Yeah, I mean they both knew it. I mean, when I used to hang around Sonny and Sam a lot, practices on the road, man, they just go at each other. Fun. They were like brothers, and they would just go at each other. I really miss Sam. Passed away a few months ago, and Sam was a great guy, and so many stories about Sam I could tell. But I'll tell a quick one. We're at training camp in Frostburg. It's between practices, and I'm walking back to the dorm where we all stayed, and I see Sam laid out on the ground, face up, but sprawled out, and I'm thinking, oh man, Sam's had a heart attack or something. I run over, Sam, you okay? And Sam opens his eyes and goes, yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing laying on the ground? He goes, taking a nap, like in the dirt. He goes, well, I don't have anywhere to go. So I said, well, come to my dorm. I got a second bed. You can sleep there for an hour. I mean, scared the hell out of me. I thought you were dead. So, I mean, that was how unpretentious Sam was. He was just a regular guy. He was the son of a coal miner and never forgot that. So he would do all those kind of things. Good businessman. He told me that The toughest thing about being a businessman was that he had to dial it back. That he would get very aggressive with other people as working for Marriott and would intimidate people too much. So he had to learn to dial that back. It was one of it things. All right, let's see. Let's see. Paul's wasn't Billy hung over doing a Dallas game? Well, was Billy hung over? Um, I don't know for sure. I've drank with Billy. He can drink some beer. And he likes his beer over ice. What does it matter with him? Let's see. Michael says Sam Huff was one hell of a player. Yeah, I mean, tough, and it cost him because I remember we were eating lunch one day years ago, and Sam all of a sudden just grabs his head, and he's in such pain, and he said, I get things like these lightning bolts that go through my head, and Sam had memory problems the last 10 years of his career or life rather. And I'm sure this was all that CTE stuff, And luckily, he had good people around him that took care of him in his last few years. But yeah, he used to just go, like that. It's really sad, But yeah, just Sam would do anything for people, But he didn't tolerate slackers. He didn't tolerate people that didn't give their best or were disrespectful or any of those kind of things. Good old fashioned values guy. The Wobo. Any current DC guys more famous than Wayne Rooney or Ovi? Well, definitely Ovi's the top guy. Wayne Rooney, I'm not as big a soccer guy. I know he's a big deal. So, I mean, there's no one on the Nats now, that's for sure. There's really nobody on the Commanders. I wouldn't say Bradley Beal is. That's not the Wiz. So, yeah, I guess Wayne Rooney's worldwide. Now, Rui Hachimura has a huge following in Japan. So does that make him bigger? I don't know. I hear the Wiz are big in Japan. That they watch all the games and people were big into it. So that would be interesting. Paul Green, the Capitals going young this season. From what I hear, yeah. I mean, I covered the Caps as a semi beat writer 30 years ago. So, I mean, I have been in hockey locker rooms and know a little bit about it. Learned a lot. I learned you have to take a jacket in the fall when you're covering hockey practice because it's so daggone cold in the rink. Who knew that? Beautiful day outside, grab your jacket to go inside. Weird. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to hang around so Ovi can have some success and break the record and crowds will come watch. And sure, I mean, when Ovi's gone, you won't see another one like that in this town. So he's been great. Do you have any predictions or insights on the Wizards this year? Asked Bill. Pain. I thought giving Beal all that money was wrong, but this team just can't seem to crash and burn and rebuild from it. Some teams do, but they don't. So I have a feeling there'll be a 35 win team, maybe 40. That's still losing. I don't see anything that makes me really think they're going to be that good, and the draft didn't inspire me on anything particular, me or anybody else. So I don't really expect to see that too much happening there. Man, it sounds awful, doesn't it? Maybe the Terps will be good in football or basketball. Matter of fact, I didn't get to see this. Does anybody know who won the Maryland, the Terps Hoyas alumni game the other day? I think Hoyas won, but I didn't see anything about it. I would have liked it. I'm a Maryland grad, so I was hoping they'd do well there. I've been watching Maryland basketball since 1972, so woo! I was a kid though, at least, and I went to Maryland, so I love Maryland. Bill says has high hopes for Brad and Kuzma together. Okay, I believe you. Paul Green, I think the Commanders will make the playoffs. Yeah, I think they go 10-7 and they get that last wild card. Why not? At this point, you got to be optimistic. And then when they start out 0-2, I'll be holding my torch up here during the Monday nights, ready to do it. Could they go 0-2? Sure, they could. They got to be ready because the other teams are ready. They see this as a chance for them to win a game, so they're coming too. Like they said, they all get paid. Remember when Detroit finally won its first game in like 2 years? It was against Washington. How many times have we seen this nonsense? So all I say is they really need to be 3-1. Because then they play Philly and Dallas. You need to be 3-1. You beat one of the two division teams. Um, and, you'll be better. I don't know. Philly and Dallas are both going to be tough, in the division. The Giants now. Uh, so let's see. Alton Beal. I know Alton. Sorry, I'm just jumping in this late. We'll try to get on the next one. Okay. Well, I'm around a few more minutes, Alton. So Alton's a great guy. Maybe you want to follow him on Twitter. On there. I'm on Twitter too, Snide_remarks, in case some of you don't follow me over there. Go follow me over there. I don't tweet a lot, but I do it. After I figured out I tweeted over 100,000 times, I thought this is just dumb. But occasionally, if something's up, I'll do it. Paul, would I give up on the Commanders if they go 0-2? Well, I won't, but you will. But I'll just go week to week anyway. I'm like the players. I can tell you who they're playing mostly next week. I might know a couple games ahead. So beginning of the season, I know the first 4. I do not know the 5th. I just go week to week. Steve says, do you remember Lefty stealing McMillan from Dean? Yeah, there's some great stories with that. I've talked to both of them about it. I knew Tom reasonably well too, and I've talked to Lefty. So Tom McMillan says to Lefty, that North Carolina has like 100 and some thousand books in its library. And Lefty says, when you get done reading all of ours, I'll buy you some more. I thought that was one of the great lines. Lefty was a great recruiter on there. Turge was a great recruiter, I thought. Neither of them were the game coach that Gary was. And the new coach, we'll see what he can do on there. Jeff, do I ever think what would happen if Moses had gone to Maryland? Yeah, Moses Malone was on Maryland supposedly for one day and then went pro and was a great player. He won a national title with him, Yeah, Lefty was a great recruiter. He liked just raw bacon on his pizza. He asked me about it recently. We talked about Lito's Pizza. Lefty ate there every day with his staff. He ate at Lito's, the old Lito's, for like 20 years on there. And he had the raw bacon. Let's see. Alton says, how did I start my career covering this team? It was not my goal. I was happy being a horse racing writer many years ago. And then they started needing me more on the team. And then eventually I just said, you know what? This is where the money is. So that's why I switched over to covering the team. But I spent 7 years covering preps and 5 covering horse racing full time and college sports. And I didn't get to the Commanders and Redskins until I was 32 regularly. I was there some, here and there as the young reporter back then. So it just kind of worked itself out. I guess I was meant to be. And while it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, I could have an easier life at the track. I'm glad I did it. It was a great career doing this. And it's not quite over yet, but getting there. Tom was 22 and looked 50, says Michael. Yeah, that gray hair. So weird. Jennifer, who do I think is going to be the punt returner? That's a good question. I know they want the same guy to be the punt and kick returner so they can save a roster space. Why they didn't keep DeAndre Carter, I don't know. I thought he was good last season, best one they've had in a while. And he made the minimum signing elsewhere. Why didn't they do that? You wonder if there's another part of the story to that. Paul Green, a big Georgetown basketball fan. Think they have a good season. Well, I'm a Maryland fan, so you're on your own when it comes to Georgetown having a good season. I covered them some during John Thompson's time. I'm amazed that they've fallen as badly as they have, and I think they probably have to find another new coach, and maybe the university has to commit more resources. But I don't know. You recruit these 18-year-old kids, and you have to treat them like they're kings or something, and then they only stick around a year. And then go in the NFL. Maryland's got a really great facility now. They converted Cole Fieldhouse into a training center, and it's awesome. And people say, "Oh, we've got to have more weight rooms." And I'm like, "Why? Do you have people waiting in line to use the weights?" No. Then you don't need a bigger weight room. Why are we doing an arms race to impress 18-year-olds? That's the way. I'd be a lousy college coach because no one would come coach for me. I say you're coming to one of the finest universities. You're getting a free education. You're probably making the pros. So use this to set up your life. That would be my pitch, and no one would want to come play for me. And now, of course, it's all about how much money can you get from these things. Oh man, college sports just got ruined. Steve says, if Bias had lived, do you think he and Jordan would have been a huge rivalry? Oh yeah, I mean Lenny got. I covered Lenny in high school at Northwestern. You know, he was so raw and so good, but he really wasn't good till his second year at Maryland. That's when it really worked. So um, Lenny would have been a great pro. I think Lenny had his best basketball still ahead of him. Such a one tragedy. Every year, I find somebody who tells me something I didn't know about Lenny. The last time I heard his mom speak, Dr. Bias, and she told a story about how Lenny was convinced he was going to marry Whitney Houston. And I said, you know what? Being an NBA star, he probably would have had a chance at her. But I'd never heard that story about him and Whitney Houston. Good versus evil. What do you think? Jesus Christ spoke on people who want to compete on sports already. You must comply with the rules. Not sure what that means, but if Jesus Christ said it, okay. Um, I'm not sure. I'll let Alton ask that one. Hey, Alton, you can answer that one for me. Exactly what that all means on there. So I got baptized in a river about 3, 4 years ago. I figured it was good enough for Jesus, good enough for me. It was pretty interesting to be baptized in a Patuxent River. And my old high school friend baptized me, and he said we're wandering, wading out into the river. He goes, "Watch out for snakes." I thought, God, wouldn't that be ironic to be, bitten by a snake while I'm being baptized? I just said, just make sure you hold on to me. The tide, is going through. I said, I don't want you to speak at my funeral this quick. Paul, is Datsun going to return punts? I don't think so. If there's talk about it, I don't think so. What time of year were you baptized out? July. So it was hot. I'm not doing it in January. That would have been a little much, but it was cool, to be able. And I really did feel a difference in my life since. So uh, spend time in prayer twice a day. I don't sit there and preach to everybody. That's someone else's job, like Alton's. But Lord be with us all. All right, let's see. Have I chased everybody off? No, not yet. Still got people here. I got a few minutes to wrap up. Hank says, is this a team that can make it a deep run in the playoffs? If they make the playoffs, I'd say they probably will win a game. Will they win 2 games? I don't know. But they could win a game on there. Bill's bailing on me. Thank you, Bill, for coming by on everything. I'm going to do these on the Mondays, unless no one listens anymore, and I'll stop. Let's see. Paul says, what's the best boat tour in D.C.? I've only been on one. It's down there on the Washington Channel, and they go around, big white boat. I haven't done the duck boats. I haven't seen the duck boats, matter of fact, in a couple of years since the pandemic. Alton wants to say, what position are we deepest? Quarterback. Got 3 guys that could play. How's that for an answer? Let's say wide receiver. They definitely are. Nobody's hurt yet, so I think they look pretty good there at receiver. Running back, they got 3 guys. I mean, right now, everybody's healthy. The lines, both lines they're looking for guys in reserve and hoping that they can be decent. But you never know until you see them play on this. Let's see. All right. What else we got? You guys are all bailing. And thanks for coming to the 2-minute shows. I do morning and evening. And during the day, if something happens, like Wednesday, I'll be at practice. So I'll do one around noon, for whatever's going on. Paul said, would Chase play? Yeah, I would say. The question is, does he make it back in October? I have a feeling the answer will be no, which will have him as a half season. They're just, they try to be conservative on players. And I'm okay with that. I don't want to see somebody go out there early and get hurt. Because if Chase goes out there early and gets hurt seriously again, that could be the career. 2 big injuries and hard to come back from. Good versus evil. Thanks, you can tell I'm a good guy, but this is foolishness. Okay. Whatever that means. And Parlay knows I'm the best. Yeah, Parlay's coming when we. I'm going to have a new home November. I'm going to have a different studio here. It's going to be a little more interesting. And Parlay's supposed to be able to come. He says Matt's a jobber. Whatever that is, I agree. Um, Now I've known Matt since he was 5 years old. Believe it or not, he's my kid's age. Long story why I know him, but Matt's a great guy and getting old. It's almost 40. So, but he does a great job with the show. Sometimes I just sit and listen to him talk. That's fine. And I love when people put the comments up, let Rick talk. Yeah, that's really funny on there. So I love teasing Matt, but he's a good guy on there. All right, let's see. Anybody else have something here? We're about finishing. Um, can't wait for my preseason review. Well, next Monday I'll talk about the game. With it's a limited peak, but I'm glad it's during the day because these night games kill me. I'm getting too old for this on there. I've been doing sports in town for 44 years. I'm starting to get a little old. Any inquiries about that big Redskin collection? Asked Colin. Yeah, I've had several people approach me about it, but they mostly want to buy this piece or that piece. And right now, the guy who has this big collection of Redskins memorabilia wants to sell it all and at one time. And I don't know who you get for that. So I think it's going to be a process for this. He has some interesting things. I've seen it. I mean, he has a basement where he has it all, and this basement's 3,000 square feet, and there's stuff everywhere. That's how much stuff he has. My favorite is the fedora of Jack Kent Cooks. I keep trying to get that from him, but you know, yeah, the collections. The guy used to show it a lot, but he's kind of been in and out a lot the past year. So I'm not sure if he would do it. If you come to town out and let me know, and I'll see if he can do it. It's just he even has like 4 seats from Griffin, and then he has 4 seats from RFK, and then he has 4 seats from FedEx. And they're in front of a big screen TV, and 12 people sometimes come over for parties, and they sit in the seats. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I saw where people that run RFK DC events last week said, "Hey, we're not selling seats yet. The company that sold seats wasn't supposed to do that yet." Well, they have been, and they were like, "We." And I think they made allusions that they got the seats back, and I'm like, "No, you didn't," because I know people would have them. I've seen the pictures. Um, but supposedly they're trying to finish the asbestos removal at RFK before they dismantle it. They're not going to blow it up because this thing basically there's so much asbestos in it. You blow it up, it's going to be a cloud over DC, and then everybody's going to get cancer and die, and they're going to sue everybody. So they've got to take this thing apart, which will probably take a year. Supposedly by next fall, 2023, they're going to start. But they're supposed to be selling things at auction sometime soon. So they stopped temporarily selling the seats, which were $400 each, and which I think is way too much. It's your money, spend it how you want. But I thought I'd buy a couple if they were $100. I put them on my back porch for fun. Nah, not 400. Maybe I'll get the last two discounted. They're broken or something. Bill's gonna go try and watch the Nats tonight. Okay, I have a hard time with it. Just if you don't know anybody, it's hard to drum up the interest on that. So anyway, the RFK memorabilia stuff. I want the Budweiser sign from the end zone. That would be cool. I need to remember that. It completely filled the end zone. I'm buying 3 acres of my new property. I could put it up somewhere there. My neighbors would probably come kill me, but it'd be interesting. So eventually this fall, I'm sure they'll have it for sale because everybody wants to buy Christmas stuff. Be a great Christmas gift for people on there. Maybe they'll advertise on my show. Yeah, I'm always looking for an advertiser. Okay, good versus evil. All right, I'll let that. You can talk to Alton. All right. Well, it's 9:05. I'm exhausted from so many days. So thank all of you for coming. Watch everybody quit. Boom, boom, gone. There you go. It's already starting down. Thank you all for coming so much. I'm glad to do this on Mondays. And if you missed any part of it, as soon as this is done, give it a few minutes. It'll be on repeat all the time on YouTube. You can see that on Twitter. There you can find me Snide_remarks on there. I do a little bit on Instagram. I have a picture now and then, but nothing like that. And otherwise, we're done. So I can go watch TV. Anything on? I don't even know. All right, and thanks, Out. I appreciate it. Yeah, just go watch on replay, and you can see the first part you missed. And for the rest of you, thank you so much. And new one out tomorrow morning. I usually post around 7 a.m. and p.m., give or take. If I sleep a little later, I don't. I'm a little later. That's the only reason why. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'll see you next week on the Monday Live Chat.